This pack is not to force closure, acceptance, forgiveness, positivity, or moving on. It supports honoring the loss, allowing the feeling, stabilizing the body and the memory, adapting identity, and reopening to life when ready. So, see the smoothness of it, and this is how I describe it because it is just simply that smooth. It's not. There's no force. The SRC doesn't force things. The SRC normally compels. It will ask many times, very gently, and eventually, usually the energetic hand will come out, so to speak, and the SRC then can work with that. This new engine doesn't work like that. It just comes right in, it gives you like a big energetic hug and goes like right through the defenses, but in a safe, kind, nurturing way, like taking some kind of great supplement that your body goes, oh man, I really needed that. And so it really, the body welcomes the way these things are done, as opposed to having to convince, like, imagine that you're a baker and you make chocolate cake, right? I mean, that sounds like a good start to the story, right? You make chocolate cake and you make this chocolate cake and you got this slice of chocolate cake in the window and you're trying to get people to try your chocolate cake because you know if they try that chocolate cake, they're going to want to buy a whole cake because it's going to be the best cake that they ever had. And so people are walking by the window and they kind of see the chocolate cake, but nobody's really coming in and tasting it. And so you put a sign out that says like free samples, and then maybe a few people come in, but people aren't really coming in. So that's an example of compelling them. And an example of forcing them would be like standing on the sidewalk and when people come by, you grab them and shove the cake in their face. And at first they might start fighting you, but then when they taste the cake, then they go, "Oh, that's what you're trying to tell me. You know what? That's really good." And so those are all messed up ways of trying to get your good product and service to the consumer. So what we want to do is we want to make that chocolate cake in such a way that it's so appealing to the person that they can't help but to see it. We decorate the cake. We put like little slices of fruit around it. We put garnish, around it. We put a little spotlight on it, that really accents it. So where when you walk by the window, you see the light, you see this cake. Wow, look at this cake. And there's like little gold, truffles and stuff around this cake. Like, what is going on with this cake? And they have to come in and they have to ask about that cake. Right. So we want to attract that person enough that they're going to come in and say, "Hey, I got to try that cake," even though they didn't even know they wanted cake. So that's how the new system works, is it makes everything in such a way that the body just goes, "Okay, that sounds really cool," as opposed to having to petition and, continue to petition until you finally get the right answer, all that kind of stuff. I mean, just to give you an idea, I did a demonstration of this for a lady just a couple of days ago. And I was using the new stuff, to show her. And so I said, I know you've never seen anything like this before. All right. But I want you to, because she asked me, does it work for emotional stuff? And I said, actually, that's kind of one of the best things, like the fastest, most noticeable things that you can do. And I said, do you have any like trauma or issues that you would just like want them to just totally go away, like they never happened? And you don't have to tell me what they are. I don't even want to know what they are. So you don't have to tell me what they are. But what I would ask you is, can you tell me on a scale of 0 to 10, 0 being nothing, and then 10 being the most intense, how bad these things bother you still today? And she says, "Oh yeah, oh yeah, and I got a couple of nines, like no problem, very very easy. I got these nines." And I said, "Okay, great." So I pulled it up, I ran the stuff, and I said, "Give me 5 minutes on the clock. And 5 minutes, we're going to talk about this again, and we're going to see how you feel." And while we were sitting there, I asked her, I said, "So these problems that you're having, again, you don't have to tell me about them, but there's no way I could talk you out of this, right? And just say, hey, why don't you just let this go, whatever this is?" And she's like, "Ha, no, there's no way that I could be talked out of this." So you can't. I can't get you to convince you to let this go in any way. She's like, no, no. I mean, it's not that I want to hold on to these things, but it's affecting me. And I'm like, that's what I wanted you to identify. That's what I wanted you to understand because in a minute, that's going to change. And so she went for about 4.5 minutes, and I said, okay, we're about almost at the 5 minute mark. How are you doing? And she says, I can't believe that I'm smiling right now. I can't believe it, but I'm smiling. I'm like, oh, well, I want you to think about the thing that we were talking about. She says, I am thinking about the thing and I'm smiling. And I feel secure. I feel safe. I feel joy and I feel uplifted. I can see this whole thing so much clearer now, and I can't even explain to you the difference. And I said, that is exactly the phenomenon that we're looking for. That's exactly what we're looking for. And you see, it took 5 minutes to do it. I know that because I've done this for a while. And so usually most emotional stuff breaks in about 5 minutes. Some things that are really heavy with the traditional engine might take as much as 15 or 20 minutes, but the new stuff is so fast, like 5 minutes. And she's not only is the emotional trauma of whatever that was totally cleared out of her, she can't even find it in her mind, but she was made whole again. Okay. And that's where the new engine, the new cocktails, the elixir stuff, all that stuff comes into play. So the cool part is you don't have to necessarily learn anything new or have to find new buttons or anything. You can still use the SRC the same way, but I'm giving you an additional 27 super awesome cocktails